Yeah. So I did disable all the cheat spells. So I don't know that you learned any, but yeah. You're like you're like it's fine. I'll just grind for that. Like I don't. Oh goodness. So so I remember you said it would be nice to have something on the level blocks to show like what's on there, like what you've completed and what you have. And so I think all the level squares in the camp, where when it builds the map, um, yeah, and so it shows you underneath the information for the level. It shows whether there's a rune in it. It shows whether there's a portal there. It shows whether there's a gate or a puzzle. So, um, and then if they're gray, you haven't done them, or they're not open. And if they're gold, then you have completed them. So, congratulations. So, yeah, you're still not streaming. Oh, wait a minute. No, I lied. Oh, okay, yeah. So I see you just found door level 4, and I can hear myself congratulating you. Yeah, I can hear. No, I I do not hear you. I can only hear me. Yeah, no problem. That's good. I'll be the voice of your stream. I'll narrate everything you were doing a minute ago. Yeah. So this is 4-0, so you can see the picture puzzles. Have you finished any of those before? Yeah, boom. There we go. So are you moving? So I don't know. Maybe the stream. I think the stream caught up.
Hello. Hello.
Oh, okay. That I wondered about that. Like I didn't know if that was gonna. um. Well, and so it kind of like it's a there's like 3 or 4 different ways that people should know that they've done the spell correctly. So, yeah. It says it, it makes a dinging sound, it puts words in the corner. It it was a struggle, right? So try to get people to understand what, because it's not a normal mechanic, like it's most people, most games, when you cast a spell, you just you just click a button. So yeah, so you probably need at least 4 per block. So yeah, you could do it. You could brute force it. You can actually you know you can take those push spells and you can store them up so that you can actually do like an up push spell and store it, and another up push spell and store it. And so draw up and then hit Z. Yeah. Yeah. And however many spell containers you have, it'll cast them all at the same time. And if you've drawn really long lines, right, it'll add all that. Oh. I'm watching it fly away. Yeah, it's like a boat, right? You got to kind of even it out a little bit, you know. So you can take, I'm a minute behind, so I'm not entirely sure where you are. And I don't like, you know, I'm sure you're figuring it out. Now, now you're just getting angry and shooting it down, right? Yep, yep. So if you look at it, like if it's blue, it means that it's in the right spot, but it's not the right orientation, right? So what you would do is you could actually, like, if you put the blocks on the side of it, and it'll like, because the blocks are always going to rotate up and float it up like a balloon, so. And you can kind of like drop it off the side too if you want to rotate it. So, yeah. So, I mean, right? So I mean, I would put 4 blocks on top, right? And then, I would glue them and float them over, and so I don't know, like, I mean, these were originally like there was like 16 of these, right? And I remember somebody was on stream and he was like, he looked at that, and he's like, "Nope, ain't doing that shit." I was like, "Okay, 4. We'll do 4." Right. Um, But there's a streamer, Tongue Tied, right? I think he did. He was doing these actually pretty quickly. I think once he like figured it out, so he'd make his little block of 4 blocks, and then he would just detach them and attach them to other blocks. So he did, you know.
Hello.
Yeah, there's a pepper. Yes, preparation, right? Sometimes, just thinking it out, you're like, all right. But I mean, sometimes the other approach works too, right? When you just have to get that gold block over there, right? You're just like, all right, well, I'm just gonna glue and make all this stuff float, and I just have to float it across this chasm, right? And that's it.
Procedo.
I, I really wish I could see you doing this real time, right? So, because the voice is kind of, it's disjointed. Um, so I suppose if oh, there's 3 watching you, right? Such struggle.
Hello.
So that block in the top left just has to rotate 90 degrees, right? Um, so if you have it floating, then you can just bring it up and
Procedo.
onto the gray block that's next to it, and you can get rid of all the blocks, and you can just like kick it over the side. And if it
Procedo.
rotates, you know what I mean? Like it'll
Procedo.
tip over.
Procedo.
There you go. You could even just push one of those blocks to the right, and it might flip it. Like use the push spell. There you go. I see you doing it now, right? So, yep. Ah, there you go. Nice. I see you have knocked it on its side. Yeah. Yeah. Once you get it sideways, like you can just, shamelessly grab it and like, oh boy, knocked it off the top. Ah, there you go. Yeah. You can't walk it over, huh? Well, I think the strategy that will always work is, getting them into whatever orientation they're supposed to be, and then putting the blocks on them. You know. There you go. What you have it flopped over, and now you can just yeah. Yes, yes, it is. You know, I'm sorry. It would. It would. Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, like if you need to like rotate a block, you can get the blocks on the side of it and then make glue them and float them, and then when it floats upward, it rotates the block, right?
Aprire.
That's one way to rotate a block. The other is that when you like push it toward the edge and let it fall off, it'll rotate, as it dribbles off the end, right? So, and of course, the easy way to do it is just telekinesis, right? No, no, and that's the whole. I mean, it's supposed to be kind of like difficult and arduous at this point, right? Like that's yeah, it's, it's-
Duo. Duo.
I mean, you're pretty wealthy right now, right? You could even do. Oh, nice. There you go. Yeah, what's your like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna just this is just too messed up right now. I'm just gonna come back and retry it. Yeah. Yeah, see, like you have you, I would yeah. So you're gonna stick with the four on top, right? Yes. Yeah. Uh, so this is the way I do it.
Duo.
So, yeah, I would I would orient the blocks correctly, and then I would then I would do what you're doing.
Duo.
You didn't glue him on there. Yeah, you just reload the level. So yeah, see, there you go. Like that's well done, well done.
Aprire.
Have you found the button to change your wizard's color yet? Yeah, so it's over by the arena. So I yeah. Nope. Well, anybody can have it. So yeah. A little bit of channel promotion for you right inside the game. So, yeah, it looks like you need what 30 or 40 more. So yeah, I mean, they're not that hard to get.
Proceed. Executor.
Oh, oh yeah. You know, I find that it's a double-edged sword for sure, right? Because you know they like like no matter how many times I want dangerous things to follow me around, right, and kill my enemies, most of the time they just end up smashing me in the face. So
Executor. Executor.
nice. 1 second.
Executor. 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 Blue. Proceed. 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 Executor. Blue. Proceed. Proceed. Spread. Spread.
All right. Oh man, getting through a dungeon. Yeah, when you're like, oh, I totally should not shoot this block, and then you're like, pow. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I mean, you just apparently you just had all those extraneous blocks. They were just helping it out anyway. Oh my goodness, I never even thought about that. Eh, little Fidel hats for sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, it could. I mean, I never even thought about giving him a skin. And I guess you could change the whole look of him, and I mean, you could customize your pet, right? So,
Executor.
how are you gonna get that key up there?
Blue. Proceed.
I saw 3 people on your stream earlier. They're coming back. you know. Yeah.
Secutor. Secutor.
Yeah, I see. Well, so I see people, they'll stream on just all three platforms like at the same time. They'll do like Twitch and YouTube and Facebook. So they'll do all three. Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it's I mean, if you're unless you're active, I think Twitch is, I mean, if you are like playing on stream and interacting with your chat, I could see how, having a minute delay would be a little rough. So so it's what I see people doing on Twitch a lot, and I think maybe that would be its utility. But is I mean I know nothing about streaming really. I don't stream or anything, so. Oh my goodness. Treasure's great. Belts. Yeah. And you're at 44, so you only need like 20 more. So like if I need purple squares, like I'll generally just try and see if I can find those the outline puzzles. They do. And the higher the tier you go, so if you can find a 4-1 or a 7-3 or anything with that second number being higher, it'll um I'm listening to myself talk to me and my brain is melting, right? so, so if yeah. No, 1 second.
Secutor. Secutor.
Okay.
Secutor. Secutor. Secutor.
What's that? What's that? What? I can. Yeah. Yeah. Um, I aligned my audio. It's about 30 seconds off. An awful lot of red squares. I, I I have so watching other people play, right, has taught me some interesting spells, right? Like if you just put an up arrow spell on like a blue or a red square, um, like it's like a little anti-gravity thing. It's not quite like flying, right? But it's like super jump, right? And so like if I'm trying to get blocks to go into a dungeon, that's generally what I will do. Um, and if you hold the blocks, right, they don't injure you, which is actually a bug, but I've found it useful. So I've just left it in. So, yeah, you don't have any blue squares left. Oh, you murdering the townsfolk, Pixel. You know,
Apparire.
Oh, oh yeah. Did you decorations? Yep. So, I mean, somebody was like, your level needs more stuff in it. I was like, fine. um. Oh yeah, look at you. You're up at 58, 53K. So this level doesn't have. This level is a dead end level. Yeah. So and mo yeah, and most will. So most if basically if you find a picture puzzle in a level, that means that it doesn't have any forward links or doors. So no. line. So I like these levels though. They have a good ambiance to them. Mhm. You know, as oh, I don't know. What puzzle are we looking at? So, is it a picture puzzle? Then no, you won't get any. You won't get any squares out of that. Yeah. So those, I mean, they're basically stores, is what they are, right? And there are ways for people to, when you start getting into the upper echelons, um, or if I mean, just basically just to buy equipment, right? So if you don't want, you know, if you don't want to do difficult dungeons in the higher levels, right, you can do these picture puzzles instead, and you're just paying for the specific equipment. So oh yes. Some are like, even so in the code, right? I've even said like, if you don't have any guns, right? Like, you know, you shouldn't exist, right? So, so if after the whole generation process, like they weren't able to find anywhere to put guns on their body, right? They're supposed to kill themselves, and yet I still find bosses periodically with um with no guns, right? They're just wandering around, right? And you're like, well, you're like a little bag of red and blue blocks, right? Like they're just flying around, right? But they can't hurt you. They can't do anything, right? Exactly, exactly. So I have developed a very easy system for like integrating like discussion and talk, and I mean like the dialogue options. So um yeah, I'm not really all that great at writing stories, but it would basically be the next thing, right? Is I would probably implement an entire questing thing into the worlds, right? So you could and we could probably connect story elements from different worlds, that might make sense or whatever the case is. But yeah, some type of questing system would be next. So so true. I should just get some get the API calls and just that actually that would be kind of fun. Actually, that would be a little fun project. Because then all the this dialogue you have would be like I wouldn't have written it, right? Like it can write it on the fly, right? I just make an API call to GPT and it gives me back. I mean, I could get it in. Yeah, you could get in a lot of trouble that way too, right? Because Cat GPT would go off the rails and start twer- it starts creating a cult, right?
Hello.
It's a great way to get in the headlines, I suppose. Oh my goodness, I did not see that at all.
Proceed.
So there, if AI creates your burger, they like was it a taste test ultimately? Oh yeah. Of course, right? Because it's people, right? You remember what? I figured, it would just end up Burger McBurger face, right? Like a so that was what that was. Yeah, that was that was the British, right? So so the UK they wanted to name a new research vessel, so you know they put out a survey, and whoever
Hello.
won the whatever name got the most votes was gonna they were gonna name the new research vessel, right? And it was Bodie McBoatface, right? Was the outstanding victor, and you're like, I know, and you're like, well, no, they didn't keep it, right?
Hello.
So, and I'm just like, I don't know what the hell I don't know what they expected, right? Like, I mean, you're gonna ask the internet, to to name your research vessel, like yeah, like I don't know, like they haven't been on the internet in 30 years, right? Well, 20 years.
Amigo.
Oh yeah. Oh boy. So I don't know, like I find the puzzles, like the dungeon puzzles, like I like the fact that I never know what I mean I made the game, right? So I like the fact that I never know what the dungeon's gonna look like. Great. Yeah. Mm, same. And that's so I don't know if you probably didn't notice, but like all these levels are different in version 10 than they are in version 9, right? And that's because they're all built procedurally. And so one of the next features I wanted to add was literally just a slider, right? So that people can literally just change you know the for example your 40 is the same as my 40, right? But it doesn't have to be that way, right? So, you know, you can have your own 40, right? Or, you can play the same 40 as somebody else. Um, and it's just about moving a slider, right? Um, and so that's how we didn't want you don't want people to come in here and map everything out, right, for a contest and try and figure out, well, okay, this is the best way to do it. So that's kind of where I implemented this reality code system so that, it can easily be switched. But the benefit of that too is that that'll ultimately come out at in the next update, which is when the contest is completed. I will be throwing the reality code button on there so that people can change the level trees, the way they're made, and all that kind of stuff. Um, and kind of give it its true replayability. I don't know. I don't even know how. So user generate. So are you talking about like? I had not considered that though. It would like to me it would be really tedious for somebody else to do it. But I mean, I guess it's all about tools, right? But I think what people might like about it though is that you kind of have a home, right? Like you could probably have like one space where you do, right, have full control over what it looks like, right? Because the camp, you can kill them and they respawn, and you can't move anything around, right? Um, but there should be a space where I think people could have some development tools. They could make blocks and add decorations and that sort of thing. Oh yeah, no, yeah. I mean, mostly everything would just be shaped like penises. Would be my guess. Right there. Yeah, it's yes, yeah. So I think so we were we were watching I think it was a show. I think it was a show on like Apple Play or something like that. My brother was like uh and it's a show about MMOs, but they're every time they implement a new feature, right? They have, well, what's the TTP, right? What's the time to penis, right? So how long did it take for somebody to take this new thing that we've implemented and make a penis with it, right? I was like, that totally makes sense, right? That's exactly what I mean. You give somebody the ability in Minecraft, like to make blocks, and it's the first thing anybody makes. No, I haven't actually. Mm-mm. Like, well, I wonder if I could turn this into a penis. Can't help it, I guess. But yeah. So if because I don't design any of these levels. I write the algorithms that put all this stuff in here. So I would have to build tools to build levels. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like it's all it's right now. It's kind of like, well, do I continue to work on Wizardry Squared, or do I move on to another project? So so my brothers and I, we played this. We built a prototype game, and we called it Salvage Pirates, right? and it was kind of based around like these same types of physics puzzles. And you're working basically the idea is you have this boat, right? And you're going and collecting things. So you go to islands, and there might be like a bunch of junk, or it might be a puzzle where there's treasure, and that sort of thing. And you have to like find ways of, and you have gadgets, right? So in the way that like here you're using spells to be able to do things and work with things more easily, like the gadgets were the same type of tool. So I kind of built Wizardry Squared built on that same concept. Um, you know, but I think I would like to build something, like that, right? Where, it's um, you know, you are basically piloting a vessel of some kind, right? And your job is to, essentially go and you know gather, tear things apart, explore places, right? Solve those kinds of normal puzzles, right? Because I guess one thing that I always like, I was never really a fan of puzzles in games, right? Because they're really very arbitrary, right? Like they don't have an obvious meaning, but like the salvage pirates, like you're trying to find a way to get all this stuff off of your treasure, or you and so like these puzzles, like the puzzles in Wizardry Squared, like they're all based off of like like they're all like I don't you don't walk into a dungeon room and you don't have to be told kind of like what to do. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, there's a button there. you know and then the physics and the way things are placed and the algorithms kind of build all those problems that you have to find some way of solving, right? So in a sense, reality and gravity is the agent of chaos. And so that's what I think the next game that I would like to make would be you and a couple friends are pirates, and well, you're salvage people, and your job is to essentially go and destroy things and break things and pull out valuable stuff, and that sort of thing. But I don't know. I think so. I made a kind of a little demo of the gadget building system. So um, you kind of like draw it, right? So you can draw things in space, and then they turn into like a blocky like structure, and then you can add winches and pistons and all that kind of stuff, right, to it, kind of like a little machine building thing. Yeah, yeah, except yeah, and so because it's difficult doing drawing in 3D. One of the reasons why Wizardry Squared is 2D and the Salvage Pirates was originally 2D is because imagine trying to do all these physics puzzles and with yet another dimension, right? That's it's very, very frustrating, right? So in order to kind of like manage that difficulty, right, you have to find some way of building some static thing in the world that you can kind of maneuver, right? It's like that stability. So building machines, like, oh, I can build a little machine over here, and all it does is pull in this direction, right? And I can build this machine over here, and it lifts this thing up, right? And I got to build, you know what I mean? Like if you're trying to do all those things with spells, like it might just be very frustrating. So anyway, yeah, that's what I was planning on doing. Oh, you found the gate. Very nice. So 7-0. So it should start climbing after the gateways. Oh man, the little you're playing on easy, right? Yeah. Mhm. All good. Did you join the contest or did you start the new run? Okay. All right. Good. Oh, no, it's not in there yet. So, so when you look at those when you look when you look at those spell puzzles, right? Is that like is that is it is so I kind of wanted those things in the center to be able to tell you like what you need to do to y- yeah. So they're supposed to tell you kind of what spells will be useful, right? Because some people are like, well, I mean, I don't know. There's too many options, right? Like, I just need somebody to tell me. So that's kind of where the spell puzzles came in to try and help people um, figure out what they're supposed to do. Yep. Hmm.
Hello.
Have you fin- have you finished any of these puzzles? Well, I guess not. This is the first one. Hmm. Yeah. So these are specific. So these will actually
Proceed.
give you spells when you're done. And I'll be right back.
Proceed. Hello. Proceed. Hello. Hello. Proceed. Hello. Proceed. 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 Hello. Hello.
So 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 you don't have yeah. So you don't have down arrow, huh?
Proceed. Proceed.
Okay.
Proceed.
Oh. Wow. I mean that works, right? You know the signs are suggestions,
Proceed.
right? So I was trying to design these puzzles. Like, how do I build a
Hello.
specific puzzle, right? To try and train these specific skills, um, and so yeah, that's what these puzzles are, right? These were the request of some people to, it needs something to teach you different spells.
Hello.
Hmm. What does it draw on? This is a magic pen? Hmm. w- Oh, okay. Okay. I see. Yeah. So actually, I yes. Hmm. No,
Proceed.
actually, I did build a thing that
Proceed.
it does do like an animation, right, of
Spin.
the lines being drawn. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Proceed.
Could have done that. Yeah, I'm just trying to give them hints, right? Like this is.
Proceed.
I mean, I don't know. Like sometimes, I've watched some people play, right? You know, like some people just need all the help they can get, like. And the goal is like, I'm like this is not a stump the chump type of game, right? Like this is just like it's supposed to be kind of like just like if you enjoy like puzzles and watching dollar bills go up, like like that's what this game's about, right? Figuring things out. you know. Yeah. Killing things. W- Oh, it is, So, well, I mean, like between, like, you have the AAA games that come out or whatever, and the ones that you like to play. And um, I mean, I routinely play this one just because I'm like, well, where was I, right? Like, all right, I was in World 3 and I was trying to find my way to 4, right? Right? And you like there's always a goal, right? But it's not something that's going to bother you, right? So it's really just a very casual game. And somebody was like, well, is it a platformer? And I was like, it's not really a platformer. I mean, it's a platformer, like you have platforms, but I really wouldn't call it a platformer.
Apparire.
Listening to myself talk. Yeah. Uh, so this is Thrime Paragon. I wonder if he hear you? I mean, you do have videos, and you don't look like a dude, so don't have video or yeah. No problem, dude. You know. Did you buy your book? Oh, okay. Well, you should just be able to equip it. Yeah, I think so. Well, I don't know. You have that's definitely a bug, but I guess if you do. Oh yeah, no, you got two different books. Nice. Yes. Yeah, it must have given you a discount. Like, yeah, I think yeah. So I also made your book a little bigger, right? So that you could read the Pixel and Chill logo a little bit. But no. Yes. Yes, it does. Yes. And so like if you keep going to this guy, right? If you reload the level, he'll have different stuff with your name on it. Um and so if you need a different book or want a different book, you're you just come back to this level, I guess, and buy it. So, yeah, I really I just appreciate you streamers, right? And I thought it was really nice of you to uh check out the new updates and stuff as it goes. So it's my token of appreciation. Thank you for your support. So what are you? Are you on? Oh, you're on. Yeah, you're on 4-0. So I think you were up to 7, weren't you? hmm If you, yes. So yeah. So and so a good like if you want to go back to camp and you found a door, it's best to just go through the door and then go to camp. Yeah. That way it logs the door. And you can, then you get one of those, then you'll get a level square right in the camp. And you can go back to that level whenever you like. Well, let's see. I mean, the void level should be up there around 9 or 9, 10. It's either in the middle, or it's near the end. So, but there's or the higher levels you go, the more likely you are to encounter puzzles. So, so
Sanigu. Sanigu.
yeah. Well, and I think you probably noticed that when you go to a new world, right, everything is easy again, right? Initially, and then as you start going up through the levels, you're like, all right, well, it's a little difficult, you know. But it's that last like 4 or 5 levels, right? It really ramps up pretty quickly, right? The bosses get really vicious, and they start doing a lot more damage and shooting faster. And I think for the most part, like you can wander around and jump and just shoot things, perfectly happy and without having to use any kind of offensive spells. You know, I mean, and I would say that I probably didn't need using protective spells until I don't know, maybe like World 3 or 4, I think. So I did add 2 new spells. One is protection and one is reflection. And so if you put these on your quick spell bar,
Bumble.
they're like instant casts, right?
Rosita.
But they become really helpful
Rosita.
at higher levels because some of the new enemy types I've added can shoot rather rapidly, and others can kill you really quickly. So having a reactionary button where you can shield yourself, right? It was kind of a necessity, so I added those for this competition. I figured otherwise people were probably going to get really irritated. You know? So I also put a new animation on the on the assignment of quick spells. So if you do the alpha spell and you press and hold the 1 key for like a second and then let it go, right, you'll see the new animations. So I was told that I needed more feedback on that. So yeah. Yeah. So if you get the protection spell and you assign it to one of those 4 quick slots, right, it'll cast that quick spell instantly. And so I figured there's probably other spells that could or should be used in that same manner, like the quick spell type thing, but that worked. It works. So I think if you use the Sildo spell, it allows them to kind of pass through walls, but they still block projectiles. And so that's really helpful. because especially at higher levels, like you're always being shot at from like different angles. So it helps to just even if like they're in the way in the front, right? You can kind of move around them to shoot at the enemy. It's just nice not being, blown up from behind all the time. So definitely a useful defensive spell. So I gotta go and do some dinner, but I really haven't enjoyed watching you play. So and I hope and there's more stuff. I mean, it was just kind of a really big update, but I hope you get some time to go pick a nice color for your wizard. Um, and also moving from one world to another can now be done in the camp. So there's a world gate in there, and there's also some stuff up on top that kind of maybe better. You probably already know all that stuff, but I mean it explains some things as well. But okay. Okay. Indeed. Well, always great to see you. So take care, Pixel, and have fun. Good night.